Hello, everybody, and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. For today's preview, as the Stormers host Edinburgh in the final quarterfinal of the URC playoffs tomorrow night. Kickoff is at 7 o'clock, and it should be an absolute cracker. Stormers very much the form South African side, and probably the side that South African rugby fans are kind of hinging their hopes on, just in terms of the fact that they have played so well throughout the season. However, it's a very good Edinburgh side, and playoff rugby can do strange things. So the question is not so much can they beat Edinburgh, because we know they can. I think they've got the team to do it, and they've got the form. It's can they rise up to the occasion? Can they really stand up and be counted when they've needed it to the most? And that's what we're going to see tomorrow night. And I think there's a massive, massive blow to the Stormers, and we'll go through it when we name their team, because I think they're missing one of their most informed players at the moment. But again, I think for the Stormers in many years gone by, they've played well in group stages. They've gotten themselves into good lock positions. They've always managed to find themselves in playoffs, but they've never been able to raise their game, to be able to take it to the next level and get their hands on a trophy. And I don't see why this isn't one of their best chances to do it, because if you can beat Edinburgh, you can get yourself a semi-final, try and get yourself that final, and then anything can happen in a final. Whilst everybody's sort of waiting and expecting Leinster to go all the way, I don't see why a side like the Stormers, if they're playing well, can't go and be a bit of a surprise package. And I think that they play a very different brand of rugby to everybody else. The Bulls, to a certain extent, are trying to sort of play quite an open, expansive brand of rugby. But I think the Stormers, just when they click and when they get going, they can punish any side, and they're playing with a lot of confidence at the moment. So I'm hoping that we might be able to see something special. But before we look at the sides, please do smash a like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. We'll be live for this game tomorrow, so come and hang out in the watch along. It should be a lot of fun. But in terms of the two teams, this is how the Stormers do line up, and there's a massive absentee, no Damian WILLEMSE in that midfield, and sounds like he could be ruled up for up to 2 months, which would also rule him out of the Welsh series for the Springboks. And it's a big blow, because he was finally playing as well as we know he can play, and I've been sitting there. Those of you who have been watching for a long time would know that I've always wanted to see him at center more, because I think that he is an inside center. There are parts in that are fly half, there are parts in that are full back, but I just think that this playing it inside center, it just allows him to bring out the best in himself, because it plays to all his strength. He's a very good attacking player. He's got a very good step. He's very, very solid defensively. His tactical kicking is good, but maybe not good enough as a fly half. And his positioning sometimes at fullback, can sometimes be caught a little bit out of position. But I think at inside centre, it's the perfect position for him to really flourish, and he has been flourishing. He's been that perfect link between Mani Liebach and Warwick Galant in that midfield, and it's exactly why we sort of thought that he'd be so good there, because you've got a playmaker at 12. And it takes away the goal kicking responsibilities, which has always sort of plagued him in the past. But if we look at the Stormers side, it's still stacked with some very good players. Stephen Kitsov, JJ Kotze, Frans Maherba, 2 World Cup winners in your front row is exactly what you want to be able to win that battle up front, especially playing against 2 international and South African-born players, Impio Skuman and VPNL. So I think that the scrum battle will be very interesting. JJ Kotze's got a very important job. No Scar Benny, who's still on the sidelines, and so he needs to step up, and he needs to be very solid when it comes to the set piece. He needs to make sure he throws the ball into the lineup very well, and he will be well assisted, because Salman Murat and Marvin Ori are very capable locks, and Marvin Ori obviously being very much a specialist lineout lock, and that's what he does so well. And then Salman Murat, we need to see the Salman Murat that came through the junior box. We need to see that big physical player that we keep waiting to see. And I think we've seen glimpses of it. He's been hampered by a lot of injuries, but now is the time for him to really step up, especially in playoff rugby. These are the times when legends are written. When you have players who in the matches that count can come alive and produce that performance. The loose trio, Dion Free, Achiva Diamani, Evan Lewis, is very well balanced. I think that they would have probably liked to have that Junior Bokamelo off the bench, who's somebody who's offers something a little bit different. But I think that you don't necessarily have the most physical loose forwards in Dion Free and Hachiba Naimani from a ball carrying perspective, but you kind of have that in leaps and bounds when it comes to Evan Lewis. But between Dion Free and Hachiba Naimani, you've got a lot of pace in Naimani and a lot of versatility, and then you've got a lot of aggression and obviously very good at the breakdown from Dion Free. So I think that loose trio is quite nicely balanced, especially if it would have had Pokamela coming off the bench. I think it would have been a perfect sort of to have used, the different skill sets. Herschel Yankees is back on the side. He partners Mani Liebach, who's been one of the best standout sort of South African flowers this season, and very much could also be looking at a Springbok call-up, depending on what happens with various Springbok flower half issues, as we all know. And then you've got Leon Zassi, Abel Sonatla, the 2 speedsters. Leon Zassi is playing some tremendous rugby, and I really do hope that he would get to see it as well in the playoffs because, I think he was playing himself into Supreme contention, then got injured. It took a while for him to really get back to the best, and now he looks better than he ever has. And then Rickers Pretorius has got the task of filling in for Damien Willemse, and he has to have a good game. He's a very good player, Rickers Pretorius, but sometimes guilty of not being consistent enough. He's got a very experienced player outside of him in Ruan Nel, and then, in my opinion, one of the best players in the tournament, Warwick Gelant, who could be playing his last game for the Stormers tomorrow. That's the reality of a player of rugby. He is set to go to France. Nothing announced yet, but he was in advanced talks, so it has been confirmed. So tomorrow could very well be his last game in front of the Stormers faithful, and I think that he very much wants to go out on a high. He would like to win a trophy and then say, "This is my contribution. Now I'm out of here." Because I think that one of the main reasons he's leaving is personal issues, stuff like that. But he's settled in so well at the Stormers, and he's just reignited his career there. So hopefully we do see another tremendous game from him. Off the bench, Andre Hugo Venter, the very exciting youngster, is next to the very experienced Brock Harris and Nedling Bashir. Then you've got RJ Smith, Ernst van Rijn, Namaklaba in what is a 6-2 split, which obviously offers quite a lot of versatility from a forwards perspective. From a backline's perspective, not as much experience they would like. Godlin Masimla and Sasha Ngomazulu are the two replacements. And Ngomazulu, a very exciting young fly half, but has played very little at this level. And so it's going to be a big step up for him, especially if he has to come in chasing a game or when the game's very tight. But hopefully he's a player that thrives under pressure and really sort of relishes the challenge of coming on in such an important game. We then look at how the Edinburgh side is looking up. It's a side stacked with lots of international players across the team. Piers Kuman, VPNL, South African born Scotland internationals. I've got Dave Cherry in the middle, no Stuart McAnally, who's injured. They're actually missing quite a few players on Edinburgh, the likes of Jamie Ritchie, Ben Velicott, Bowen Fenter, for example. I think Henry Immelman, also another South African born, who's not available for Edinburgh. But Jamie Hodgson is partnered with Grant Gilchrist. Grant Gilchrist he just oozes class. He's got so much pedigree, international pedigree. He's very comfortable at international level, very comfortable at this level, and he's quite a calm head, and from a leadership point of view. So I think that he'll be very important. And then it's going to be this very interesting loose trio battle of Lee Crosby, Hamish Watson, and Magnus Bradbury. I think Hamish Watson, Dion Free sort of going against each other. Magnus Bradbury versus Evan Rush should be quite a cool battle. I think that loose trio battles tend to be some of the most watchable ones, especially in this game is no different. Henry Pagos is getting an opportunity without Ben Velicott, so a big game for him. Blair Kinghorn continues to sort of try to make that number 10 position his own. Not so much in an Edinburgh perspective, because he kind of has done that, but Scotland very much looking at him as a fly half option. So this is the big sort of test for him, isn't it? Can he do it when it counts the most? The rest of the back line, you've got Damien Hoyland, Darcy Graham playing his 50th match, I think it is, for Edinburgh. Emiliano Perfetti, the Argentinian speedster, is at fullback and not in the wing. So, yeah, I'll just see how he goes there. And then the centres are Chris Dean and Mark Bennett. Off the bench, it's Adam McBurney, Harrison Courtney, and Leroy Atalifo as the replacement front row. Marshall Sykes, Ben Muncaster. Then you've got Charlie Shield, the South African-born Jaco van der Walt, and James Lang. So, as usual, a little bit of a South African flavour to these Scottish sides, as we have come to get used to. But I think that the Stormers pitch up, they should have enough to win, especially in home conditions. Although it is getting quite cold, so Edinburgh won't feel out of place. But I do think that the home support and the form that the Stormers are showing will be too much for Edinburgh. So I personally am thinking that the Stormers will get the job done. But let me know what your predictions are down in the comments below. Please do smash like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steven, and I'll chat to you soon.